Hi everyone, I'm Danny. I work on the solutions team, mainly dealing with data, reports, and automation. Today, I'm going to be showing you the automations, including some of the new features that we got available. Automations have been a part of Clarus pretty much since the beginning, accessible on the front end. Really, really nice feature. The great thing about them, the fact that you can, as a user, access them. You don't need to wait for any development. You don't need to raise a ticket or anything like that at all. It's literally there as a feature, as standard. Certain automations today, one of them being when a sales order is completed, we can send a file. This might be a confirmation of what's been ordered and what's been shipped, and that then might go to your supplier or your customer. Another one is going to be sending an email once your invoice has been confirmed. Attached to this email will be the invoice PDF, which can go directly to your customer or to an accounts payable team. And then the other one is also a dispatch note being sent. Maybe you want to send this ahead of time. Maybe you're used to downloading it from the system, attaching it to the email address, typing out the email address, sending it over to your customer. Whereas this will automate the whole process. Literally, your stock has been shipped, and as soon as that's completed, whether via the handheld or the front end, the document will then go directly to the email address of your choice. So you can see on the left-hand menu here, automations are accessed just near the bottom, couple of options above the settings panel. I've got these ones pre-set up here, but first I'm going to go into I'm creating a new automation just to give you a bit of a run around of what options are available. So we're going to click on new, give it a name, so automation test. Now, what I like about the whole automation feature itself is just how simple the layout is. Literally on the left-hand side, when this happens, which we'll look at the trigger points in a second, do this, and that's obviously your end, either destination or outcome. So when this happens on the left, we're going to click on the trigger menu, and you can see here there's a whole host of options. There's different stages of when the invoice has been processed, when the pick list has been cancelled, completed, created. There's some automations around some of our integrations in there as well. When receipt, completed, cancelled, or created. Same with sales orders. You can see a bit of a pattern there. Basically, when we would call them core processes in Clarus happen, do this, and then the output, you've now got 4 different options. So we've got an option to create a file and send to email, which is one of our new features, which includes the dispatch note automation that I'll show you shortly. Create a file and upload to FTP. So this would be where I was talking about a template you might have where you want to send that to your supplier or your customer to say, yeah, we send product 1, 2, 3 with X amount of quantity, and then they get a confirmation file which uploads automatically into their system. We can send a dispatch note to email as well, and then we can trigger a web hook, which is more related to your APIs and sending a query to a location or a URL that then your developer or IT teams can interpret the data and do as they wish. Okay, so that's the basis of how an automation works in the system. We can also add conditions to this, which is quite nice, so you can filter out. So maybe you want an automation triggering once a sale is completed, but only for account 1. So that will ensure that only account 1 has this particular file or this particular document being sent at any given time. You can add further conditions to that as well, and we're adding to these all the time. Some of the new recent ones we've done is a postcode, which is a really nice feature because you can really dig down into the nitty-gritty detail and make it really, really bespoke. And then to follow up with the actions on this side, we want to send a file to FTP. You can literally choose a bespoke file name, so select the user it's going to go to, and then this is where you would choose your template, which again, it can be created from a bespoke file. This could be CSV, it could be XML, it could be EDI, and all this is controllable and editable by yourself. So if you had a developer in-house or again an IT team that felt comfortable using some coding language, we use Liquid, which is a templating language, and all Clarus fields are available to be exported. So you can create really cool custom bespoke templates that can be sent out. Okay, so that's the basic setup of what and function of what an automation does and what features we have available on it. I'll talk a little bit more about the ones I've set up, and then I'll take you through that and show you what it actually does. So automations, I'm going to trigger 2 at the same time, which
hopefully will show the fact that you can run multiple instances of these at the same time and completely run them in the background, forget about them. You don't have to worry about them. You know that they're going to run and send and do what they need to do in the background without your intervention. So the two that we're going to link together on the sales order is going to be, once a sales order has completed, send a file over. So this is the file I've been talking about, where it's just going to be a confirmation file going to your customer. And then secondly, a dispatch note is going to send to an email address as well. So we're going to go over to goods out, sales order. I've got a order that I created beforehand with some test addresses, a couple of references and some notes. You can see my 3 products are there. My quantity is already set. So I'm going to process this to a pick. Okay, I'm going to go over to the pick list and I'm just going to complete this as normal. Okay, picks are completed. I've now got 3 dispatch tasks. Now this fits into the automation that we have set up when a sales order is completed. So basically what will happen is when I complete, so the first task's done, nothing will happen. Second task done, nothing still will happen. And finally, the third task is done. That now is the sales order of a status of completed. That then triggers the automations we've just been looking at. So if I then go to my documents folder, you can see here that a CSV and a dispatch note have both been sent out exact same time as each other. So the dispatch note is on its way to my email address, which we'll look at shortly. And the CSV file has gone to an SFTP location for a customer to retrieve and do as they need into their system. So we can take a quick look at this just to show you what type of data it outputs. So it's a nice simple CSV. Give us the 3 lines that we looked at the order. To give us the address details. This particular one's got a batch. There's the quantities and the products. We've added some notes onto there. And we've even got line numbers, which will be used in some certain systems and ERPs. Okay, so we're now going to look back at my emails, because as well as the file that we've just reviewed, we were also sending out a dispatch note. So you can see it's come through to my email. It's taken the subject and the email body of just what I set up against the automation. And we can just quickly view that again here. So once a sales order is completed, send dispatch note to email. So I was able to pick my email address as the recipient. There's my subject. There's my email body. And then there is my dispatch note attached. So both dispatch note and the file were both sent at the same time, at the same trigger point, all without any intervention apart from just making sure the sales order is completed. This also works if your user base or your customers want you to use HHD. So if you're completing HHD and you actually don't really get involved with completing the tasks like I was showing on the front end there, they could be scanning the last pallets out onto their truck. As soon as the last task's completed, again, this triggers in the background without anyone in the office having to do anything. It's all processed. You wouldn't know anything about it. It would go straight to your customers and you wouldn't have to intervene at all. And it's a very, very slick and smooth process and can be edited as you've just seen as well. Similar to the dispatch note being sent, another automation I'd like to show is just the email invoice being sent. So same process in that once a trigger point is hit in Clarus, once this happens, so in this case, once the invoice is paid, we're going to send an invoice to email. And I've done literally the same setup you've just viewed. Look at the drop down here. You can see that I have the Clarus default and also a second Clarus default, which is what I've created in Liquid. So you can actually pick and choose between what template you want to go to, what customer and where. So this is great for if you have a customer that wants something really bespoke, they want a lot of extra information on or particular detail that's really important to them. We can then come over to the conditions that we looked at earlier and make sure that it only goes to account ID 1 on this template. Then you would create a second automation, which would go to account ID 2, and it would use the other template. And these templates, as mentioned, also use HTML and Liquid to create them, which I can show briefly under our template section. Okay, so this is the Clarus default invoice template that we've created using HTML and Liquid. Again, there's a little bit of a learning curve there, but the beauty of it is that we can literally come into this now. It's ready available on the front end. There's no development time needed. We don't need to wait for anything. If you're comfortable and confident, we can go in here and add a field or slightly change the layout of it, how it looks, save it, and then that template is immediately available on the automation. So because this is set up, it's now filtered only to this account. I'm just going to save the changes I'm going to use the default one that's on the system instead here. I'm going to go to invoices. Okay, I'm going to use this demo invoice. All the charges are built up over my charging period, just different rental charges. I think there's a few RHD charges as well. So you can see as the total. I'm going to mark it as paid, and then that is going to go through to my email, similar to how the dispatch note reached me before. Okay, so the invoice that we were working with has been paid. You can see it has a status of paid. We've submitted it. And if I now go to my email inbox, you can see that the invoice is attached, similar to the dispatch note that we looked at before, where the subject, some text in the email body, and then the PDF attachment there. So all come through. As I say, this is all customizable, and we can create any bespoke invoice that's needed for various different customers.
Okay, so that was automations in a nutshell. Hopefully you found that really useful, and you can see the efficiencies, improvements, speed, and how it can operate in the background without you having to touch anything. If you need any help with any of this, or you found any of it interesting, feel free to get in touch. We can help you with any upcoming projects you might have and see how we can help you in that scenario. Thanks very much.